leading a life of a defeated. There's no reason anybody should lead a life of a vanquished. There's no reason why anybody should be full of murmuring and complaining and saying this, oh, we don't know what we're going to. People that say or do that are because they don't know what they have available. Peter and his colleagues had awareness of what they had, and they utilized it effectively. In Acts chapter 3, when there was that impotent man, and John and Peter came to the beautiful gate called Beautiful, and the man looked at them expecting some physical finance, some money. Peter looked at him and said, silver and gold I have none, but such as I have give I thee. I have something, and that is what I'm giving you. And that thing I have is authority. And that the authority of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. And the man that had been lame from birth rose up and walked. He knew what he had. People that know what they have use it effectively. In chapter 8, we read about Philip, who wasn't an apostle. Philip, that was just an usher, one of those chosen to serve the women that didn't come from the Jewish, who came from outside, the Grecian women. He was just an usher, carrying food and all that. But at a point, he moved out into ministration of the word, and he went to Samaria. In Samaria, he turned the place upside down, such that a man that was a witch or a wizard who had demonized the land and made himself to look like a god, when the things were happening in his life, that man became converted, joined in the church, and began to follow Paul, back up all that he was doing in his sorcery. This was not an apostle. This was an evangelist, usher, who had become an evangelist. And the land was turned upside down. He knew what he had. In chapter 9 of the same Acts of the Apostle, from verse 32 to verse 34, we find Peter, an apostle, who was, before whom somebody had been paralyzed was brought. And when the person was brought to Peter, Peter said, Enas was the man's name. Enas, Jesus Christ, make thee whole. He knew what he had. Jesus Christ, make you whole. And that thing he declared became instantaneous manifestation. They had control. They understood what they had and utilized it effectively. A woman was dead. A woman that was very, very benevolent, well known for her good works. She had backed up before her time. And Peter was invited. Peter went to the place, and on seeing the woman, he just did some prayer and then called her name and said, arise. And the woman rose up. That was the early church. That was the beginning. And our God is a God of progress. The thing that should be happening now should be greater than the thing that began at the beginning. Because God is a God of progress, God of growth. The church has passed through some time, experiences that should make the end time church to have more knowledge than the early church. Thinking much more now than they fought at that time. Disciples of this end time must know that the Lord has decorated them so that they can dominate wherever they are. Profession they find themselves, whatever activity they are engaged in, they are supposed to be on top, supposed to be above. They are supposed to lead. They are supposed to be in control. That is the will of God. The creatures will not want people to know the will